She said it with a smile. Not the kind that carries warmth or affection. This was her polite smile. The one she wore for dinner parties, waiters, and me whenever she didn't want to be genuine. It happened right after dinner. We were in the living room, the TV muted, the silence sitting heavy between us. Her wine glass was half empty but untouched, the stem spinning idly between her fingers. I had just asked something simple, whether she wanted to take a weekend trip. Something small, just us, a chance to breathe. That's when she said it. I think we should test our marriage. For a heartbeat, I assumed I'd misheard. Test it? I repeated. She nodded, swirling the wine as if conducting a seminar. Yeah, a week apart, just to see if we still miss each other, if we're emotionally in sync. There was no edge in her voice, no frustration, nothing to indicate this was part of a fight. It was calm, chillingly calm. I see, I said finally. She smiled faintly, satisfied to have my attention. It could be good for us, to step back, get perspective. It sounded rehearsed, like something she'd read off a self-help blog about mindfulness and rediscovering independence. Where would you go? I asked, because asking questions buys time. I was thinking the coast, she said. Rent a small place, disconnect for a few days, hike, journal, just be. That word, thinking, wasn't the right one. She'd already made the decision. You could feel it in her tone. Like a verdict she'd prepared long before she announced it. I nodded, pretending it was fine. All right. She tilted her head, studying me, the way someone examines a reflection to make sure it's reacting correctly. You're okay with that? She asked finally, taking her first sip of wine, her eyes sharp and watchful. Sure, I said. My voice didn't sound like me. She left the next morning. No theatrical goodbye. No lingering touches or last-second hesitation. Just a breezy exit. She packed light, too. Too light for a week of reflection. A few dresses. One pair of heels. The silk robe I bought her for Valentine's Day. No laptop. Just her phone, charger, and that effortless confidence of someone leaving for brunch instead of walking out on vows. The front door clicked shut, and somehow the house expanded. The silence stretched wide and empty, like a room that had been vacuumed of meaning. I sat at the dining table for a long time, staring at the faint circular imprint her wine glass had left on the wood. That little mark annoyed me more than her absence did, so I wiped it away, perhaps a little too firmly. I wanted to believe she was being sincere, that she genuinely needed distance, that this test was something pure, a personal reset, not a strategic exit. But deep down, I knew. Her goodbye hadn't felt uncertain. It had felt complete. That night, I stayed awake scrolling through old photos. I kept trying to find the moment, the exact snapshot, where her smile shifted, when affection turned performative. Somewhere in those pixels, she'd begun her slow drift away. Around midnight, I got the text. Settled in. Don't wait up for me. No good night, no miss you, just instructions. Don't wait up. That phrasing clung to me. Don't wait up, as if she were out with friends, not supposedly meditating alone near the ocean. I stared at it a while, then flipped my phone face down on the counter. Didn't reply. The next morning, I made coffee but couldn't finish it. My eyes kept flicking to the clock, waiting for something I couldn't name. A message? Maybe guilt disguised as gratitude? Nothing came. What did come, around 10, was a call. Mark, my cousin. We hadn't spoken in weeks. His voice was casual, but halfway through catching up, it faltered. Hey, random question, he said. Sophia's not with you, right? I hesitated. No, she's taking a week away. Why? Weird coincidence. I could have sworn I saw her last night. Where? The Oceanside Mariner, boutique hotel near the pier. I was there for a corporate dinner. She was with someone. His tone softened. Could have been a look-alike, but I'm pretty sure it was her. I stared straight ahead, the words echoing. Someone? Yeah. A guy, he said gently, as if delivering bad medical news. Didn't catch his face, just thought you should know. I thanked him, ended the call, and sat still long after the screen went dark. So much for solitude and journaling. My gut already knew the truth, even if my mind had been playing catch-up. That familiar sinking weight settled in my stomach, the one that tells you you're right, but you wish you weren't. I opened my laptop. I wasn't looking to spy. I wanted confirmation, context. Our finances had always been transparent. Joint accounts, shared tracking, all in the name of trust. Back when trust still felt mutual. 3 recent charges lit up the screen. Dinner at Oceanside Grill. Spa package, 2 guests, couples treatment. Luxury suite booking, the Oceanside Mariner. 2 nights, paid in advance, and there it was. The truth, clean and undeniable. She hadn't gone searching for herself. She'd just replaced me with company that required less history and more novelty. I leaned back and exhaled slowly. A less evolved version of me might have jumped in a car, driven straight there, made a scene worthy of a bad drama. But that man, the one addicted to reaction, had been quietly buried somewhere between test our marriage and don't wait up. I wasn't interested in confrontation. I wanted precision. I walked to the closet and pulled a box from the back corner. Inside were small artifacts, notes, trinkets, photos from early days, things once carrying weight. I closed it, slid it to the side of the room. If she came back, she wouldn't find those waiting. By noon, I checked her selective social media account, the one she shared with close friends, not me. A new story had been posted, visible on our synced tablet thanks to a cloud account she'd forgotten to disable. There she was, poolside, cocktail in hand, toes dipped in the blue shimmer of hotel water. Across from her, a man sat shirtless, his hand reaching out casually toward hers. The sun caught her face mid-laugh, unguarded, alive. I didn't feel rage, didn't feel heartbreak, just recognition. A cruel kind of truth settles easier than suspicion. Once the mask drops, you stop flinching. I closed the tablet and stepped out onto the balcony. The air felt sharper than it had in days, almost refreshing. Then I made a call, not to her, not to family, to Martin. He wasn't just a friend. He was my quiet contingency plan, an estate attorney who specialized in disentanglement. Calm, methodical, discreet. I barely said hello before he cut to the point. Tell me what happened. I did. Just the facts. No theatrics. When I finished, he asked, "You want to stay married?" The question hung there. Then I answered, steady. "No, I want out, just not messily." "Understood," he said. "I'll start drafting everything. Clean, controlled. You'll keep what's yours. We'll protect what you built." That word, built, stuck with me. Because I had built this life. The house. The stability. The quiet consistency that she'd mistaken for boredom. She'd wandered off chasing novelty. I was chasing closure. After the call, I took a walk around the neighborhood. Couples passed holding hands. Dogs barked at invisible things. The world looked unchanged, even though mine had shifted. It felt like standing on a road you hadn't meant to take, realizing it was still leading somewhere better. When I got home, I started taking stock. Not possessions, presence. Her art on the walls, photos from trips we'd half enjoyed for the camera, the books we bought together but never read. I boxed some things, left others where they were. I wasn't erasing her. I was reclaiming space. That night, her name lit up my phone again, thinking about you. Hope you're okay. This time has been clarifying. I stared at the screen. Didn't reply. 3 minutes later, another text. "I think this week might remind us why we chose each other. Can't wait to reconnect." She was talking to the version of me who used to wait. The man who believed her pauses meant introspection instead of calculation. That man was long gone. By midnight, my inbox pinged. Martin had already sent drafts. Clean, efficient, transactional. No emotion, just movement. I read them once, twice, and then closed the laptop. Outside, the night hummed quietly. Somewhere near the coast, she was probably still laughing poolside, full of the kind of joy that blooms from short-lived illusions. And I sat in my own kind of peace, no longer waiting for her to realize what she'd broken. Because some tests don't measure love, they reveal its absence. Thinking she still held the power to choose how this played out. And that realization, that growing understanding that I wasn't going to wait, was already changing everything. Day 2 was done, and the clock was no longer ticking for me. It was ticking for her. The next few days passed with the surreal calm of Amin, who had already crossed a line he couldn't and wouldn't step back over. She had no idea I had already untethered from the dock, letting the current take him somewhere she could no longer follow. Her absence didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a reset. On day 3, I visited the bank in person. I'd already started moving my direct deposits into a new personal account, one that didn't have her name listed anywhere. I also revised the access permissions on the joint savings. It was now frozen pending legal mediation, something Martin had quickly orchestrated, not without me. That afternoon, I returned home to a voicemail from the storage unit company. I had secured a space that morning, medium-sized, climate-controlled month-to-month rental. It would hold everything she had left behind. Clothes, personal items, framed photos she never bothered to hang properly, and those decorative pillows she always insisted we needed but never used. I started boxing her belongings without hesitation, not as punishment but with efficiency. Every shirt folded neatly, every shoe paired and bagged. I even labeled the boxes: bedroom, closet, office. There would be no confusion when she picked them up. No chance for her to manipulate the logistics into an emotional minefield. I wouldn't give her that opportunity. Her text became stranger by the day. By midweek, she shifted tone entirely. Gone was the cryptic, distant language. Now she sounded playful. One message read, "Remember that cafe in the city where you spilled coffee on your shirt before our first anniversary dinner? Just walked past a place that smells exactly like it." I read it twice and left it unanswered. Then came a photo of us set over the water, her feet propped up on a lounge chair, painted toes in the frame. The caption read, "An ending today with gratitude and perspective. Hope you're doing the same." I wasn't. I was ending my day organizing financial disclosures and finalizing the timeline Martin had laid out. The paperwork would be filed the moment she returned. The house wasn't waiting for her anymore. The door might still open, but she wouldn't recognize what was inside. On day 4, I dropped her storage key at her sister's place, a neutral zone she couldn't turn into a battleground. Her sister opened the door with the tired eyes of someone who had always known this was coming. "I'm guessing you don't want me to say anything," she said. "Just let her know where it is," I replied. She nodded. "You sure you're okay?" I'm clearer than I've ever been. And I was. There was no more doubt. No more wondering if I had overreacted or misread the signs, the messages, the absence. All of it had been her choice. I wasn't tearing anything down. I was simply refusing to live in a house she'd already abandoned emotionally. By that evening, the house looked neutral. My things remained, the essentials. The warmth was gone, yes, but so was the balance. That night, she tried calling for the first time all week. I let it ring. She didn't leave a voicemail. Minutes later, a new message appeared. "Hey, I know I've been a little distant. I just needed to clear my head. But I miss you a lot. I think this time apart has reminded me how much we mean to each other." Another text followed within seconds. "I want to talk when I get back. I think we can make things better. Let's start over." I stared at the screen for a long moment. There was no anger in me, no temptation to reply. I wasn't curious about what she would say next. Her words felt like echoes bouncing off a wall she didn't know I had already torn down. Later that night, I met someone for dinner, Elena, a colleague from a previous consulting project. We hadn't spoken in nearly a year. She reached out the same day I had changed my relationship status on a professional network. Said she always admired my stability, my loyalty. Funny how the traits one woman takes for granted, another can see is rare. We didn't talk about my wife. I didn't bring it up, not out of secrecy, but because I didn't want her shadow hanging over the table. Elena was sharp, kind, and fully present. It was just dinner, just conversation. But it was the first time in years I didn't feel like I had towed it myself to keep someone else comfortable. Meanwhile, my wife, as soon-to-be ex, was still posting stories. I saw the latest the next morning, day 5. A picture of a breakfast tray, croissants, fresh fruit, a mimosa. Her hand delicately holding a piece of melon with a man's leg partially visible beside hers. She hadn't even noticed their reflection in the glass behind them. Two buddies close, laughing. And still, she texted, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I've got ideas for how we can reconnect. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised." She had no idea. Tomorrow she would return, but she wouldn't be coming home. She arrived home just after noon, sunlight streaming through the blinds, Asif mocking her optimism. I didn't pace the hallway or rehearse what I might say. I simply sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee from a mug she used to claim was too plain for her tastes. The house was calm. Every trace of the emotional storm I'd weathered over the last week had been swept clean. The door opened slowly. I heard the soft creak of the hinges, her footsteps tentative on the hardwood. Maybe she expected me to rush to her. Instead, she stepped into a house that no longer made space for fantasy. "Hey," she called out, her voice lilting with hesitation. "I'm back." I didn't answer immediately. I heard her set down her bag. Expensive, a recent addition I didn't recall approving on any shared budget. A few more steps and she stood at the edge of the kitchen. She looked surprised to seem sitting so still, so composed. "You look different," she said. "I am," I replied. She smiled, uncertain. "I thought about you a lot. This week gave me perspective." I nodded. "Me too." There was a pause. She scanned the room, suddenly noticing the missing pictures, the empty spaces on the shelves where her things once were. Her eyes darted to the hallway where the coat racks to bare. No scarf, no purse hook waiting for her. Just a clean wall and silence. "I was thinking we could talk," she said. Everything made sense to me until I got some distance. I realized I might have been avoiding things. I didn't interrupt. Let her say what she rehearsed. She looked like someone delivering a speech they weren't entirely sure about anymore. "I know it wasn't fair the way I left, but I needed time alone to remember who we were, to miss you." She reached out as if she expected me to take her hand. Instead, I slid the envelope across the table. She froze, hand suspended in midair. "What's this?" "Everything," I said. "The storage address, the itemized list of what's yours, legal paperwork, a draft agreement. You'll find my signature already on it." Her smile fractured. "I don't understand." "Yes," I said evenly. "You do?" She opened the envelope with shaking fingers. Her eyes scanned the pages and color drained from her face. A lean or two in, she stopped. "You're ending it." I stood up. "You ended it when you left. You just assumed I'd be here waiting for your return. That wasn't what this was." Her voice rose. Desperation slipping through. It was just space, a pause to reconnect. I tilted my head slightly. "Is that what you told him?" She went still like someone had flipped a switch inside her. "I saw the charges, the hotel, the dinners, the man's reflection in your stories. Don't insult both of us by pretending this was a silent retreat." Her mouth opened, then closed. No words came out. Her practice lines didn't cover this scenario. "I made one promise to myself this week," I said. "I wouldn't raise my voice. I wouldn't do anything out of bitterness. Just honesty, decisiveness." She moved to sit down. I shook my head. "Don't. This isn't a negotiation. But we have years together, history. We have a record," I corrected, "not a bond. Not anymore." She clenched the envelope in her hand, crushing it slightly. "You're really doing this?" "I already did." There was a long pause. Her face shifted through expressions, confusion, regret, and finally a flicker of fear. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Your things are in storage. The lease on that unit is prepaid for 2 months. After that, it's yours to manage." "I meant tonight. I just got back. I arranged for a rideshare to pick you up in 15 minutes. It's waiting outside." "You planned this?" she asked, a touch of horror in her voice. "I accepted the truth and moved forward," I said. "There's a difference." For the first time since she walked in, she looked genuinely lost. Her gaze dropped to the table, then to the floor, as if trying to anchor herself to something familiar. But everything in this space had changed. "You could have told me, given me a chance." "You had a chance," I said. "Before the lies, before you turned marriage into a social experiment." Her lips quivered. "It wasn't all fake, not everything. Then it should have meant something before you threw it into a petri dish to see what would grow." I walked past her. There was nothing left to salvage. At the door, I turned back once, not out of doubt, but respect for what we used to be. "I won't stop you from healing, but I won't be part of it." She didn't respond. As I stepped outside, the car pulled into view. I handed the driver her name. "She'll be out shortly," I said. And then I walked down the street, not hurried, not looking back. She had gone searching for distance. And by the time she came back, I was already somewhere else entirely. She never called the next day, not even a message. It was the quietest she had ever been. Maybe she thought silence would punish me. I was full of something better, certainty. Not spite, just the steady calm of a man who had finally reclaimed his self-worth. By the end of the week, I changed the locks, not out of anger, but completion. The legal filings were submitted, and the preliminary separation agreement had already been acknowledged by Herr Attorney. Everything now lived on paper. Neat, objective, impersonal. She tried once 3 days later. A single line in text. "Are you really going through with this?" I read it during a walk through the park, the breeze pressing against my face like a reminder that the world kept moving, even when someone tried to pause it. That evening, I met with Martin one last time. He handed me the finalized documents. "You moved fast," he said with a nod. "She made it easy," he answered, signing the last page. I didn't know exactly where she was now. Maybe staying with a friend, maybe Thiemann from the hotel, because I wanted her to finally sit in the stillness she had once asked for, not as a test, but as a truth. 2 weeks passed before I saw her again. We crossed paths at a mutual friend's gathering, something she clearly hadn't expected me to attend. She walked in wearing her usual armor, high heels, flawless makeup, but the moment she spotted me across the room, something in her cracked just for a second. She didn't approach me, just stood near the door, speaking to no one, trying not to fidget. I didn't go to hear her. Elena was with me. We weren't a couple, not yet, but she had become a familiar, comforting presence, someone who didn't need me to play a role or perform emotional acrobatics just to be accepted. She laughed freely, asked real questions, and listened with her whole face. A rare kind of ease surrounded her, one I didn't realize I'd miss until I found it again. At one point during the night, I caught my ex-wife watching us. Her eyes held something unfamiliar, something between longing and disbelief, but that life was gone. As the evening wounded down, she finally made her move. "Can we talk?" she asked softly as I passed her on my way to the coat rack. I paused. There's nothing left to talk about. She shifted closer, lowering her voice. "I made a mistake, nodded. I know. Don't you want to understand why I did what I did?" "No," I said calmly. "Because I finally understand why I stayed as long as I did." And that answer was harder to swallow. Her lips parted slightly as if forming a defense, but nothing came out. "I hope you find what you're looking for," I added, "but it won't be in the rearview mirror." I left her there near the door, holding a glass of untouched wine alone in a room filled with people. She looked smaller than I remembered. Weeks turned into months. She tried once more, an email this time, long apologetic, littered with reflections about love, fear, and pressure. I read it only once and then archived it. There was no need to delete it. It simply didn't matter anymore. The home we once shared now felt entirely mine. I rearranged the furniture, repainted the guest room, donated all the decor she'd insisted was vital to our aesthetic. I breathed differently in the space now. Elena and I began seeing more of each other, not as a rebound, but as something light and unforced. We'd meet for coffee, walk aimlessly through bookstores, cook meals that didn't require agreement over wine pairings. She never pried into the past. She didn't need to. I was no longer carrying it. I saw my ex-wife one final time in the most unexpected place, a community event at the local arts center. She was standing beside a Newman, laughing too loudly, gesturing with the same flair she used when trying to impress people. Her eyes darted across the room until they landed on me. This time there was no surprise in her expression, just the weight of understanding. I offered a polite nod, nothing more. I moved, and somewhere between her departure and her return, I became the man I used to be, only stronger, quieter, and no longer looking backward. Sometimes the best things aren't taken from you. They're given away, and all you have to do is let them go. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the